Good evening, maybe good morning, maybe good afternoon. How you guys doing? Just coming through with another quick little video, going live actually. Just had some thoughts. Yeah, I'm just right here in the background. No need to show the face. Just listen to the message, listen to the music, let things transpire as they do. As you can tell by the title, things I like, things I don't like. Now, I know you're asking yourself, like, who gives a fuck what you like? You know what I mean? What's going on in any form or fashion? I get that shit. You know what I mean? But I also get the simple fact that most people do kind of like convene and come together off of things that they don't like. This is more of a sickness, kind of a bad thing. It's almost like a damn bad joke, really. But most people do, you know what I mean? If you hate the same things, and I'm not talking about sports, where you could hate the same team and kind of like come together on a common goal for, a game or so. Because it's a game, it's for fun. It's a way to release that type of shit without it actually really affecting anything except for possibly money if you're gambling. But yeah, people usually come together on things that they don't like, which is possibly why not possibly. This is definitely why you have certain groups, you know what I mean, on either side, on any kind of conceivable wavelength. You know what I mean? Obviously, your mind definitely goes straight to like either neo-Nazi, KKK, white nationalists, or Black Panthers, or shoot, some people might even call, Islam, and being the Muslim kind of part of that same little situation, Freemasons, you name it, you got it. You know what I mean? Fraternities, sororities, you know what I mean? Like, obviously, these people are really coming together on things that they dislike too much about all the time. I'm not sure how things are founded, but people come together all the time, and usually there is a certain, mindset and wavelength. And usually, hopefully, for a stronger bond, stronger union, different things of that nature. You know what I mean? You do have things that you do have in common, things that you actually like, which is a novel idea actually in and of itself. Like, oh my gosh, you could actually like some things because now, it's kind of good to shit on stuff. You know what I mean? That's a kind of cool thing. And if you like something, somebody will hate on it just for the simple fact of hating on it. You know what I mean? And that's just part of what it is. You know what I mean? You trolls have different things of that nature. Thankfully, I'm not big enough to even, get that kind of attention. So I'm allowed to just like speak, and the people that hear it will hear it. People that don't probably will never do it, but it's just one of those things. And felt like going live this evening just because obviously there's a lot of shit going on. And like I said, it's things I like and there's things I don't like. I mean, when you look at this, the nature of even YouTube right now, obviously you are what you search for. You know what I mean? They present things that are like what you have watched before. You know what I mean? So you have to kind of break the algorithm and actually really do look for some, different stuff. But most people are obviously, consumed in conversation about relationships and things of that sort, obviously, though. And once again, if you like it, you like it. If you don't, you probably don't even know about it. So it don't bother you. You know what I mean? Like, you wouldn't even know that it's a thing. But let's be honest, you know what I mean? Like, people are really searching for certain big topics. I mean, like I said, people have their hobbies. I obviously like sports, you know what I mean? And you can call that a hobby, but unless I'm actively playing for like a league or something like that, I don't know how hard you can really call it a hobby. But anyway, getting off random. I'm random obviously, but I ain't trying to be that damn random. Trying to have actually a little bit of point to this shit. Feel what I'm saying? So anybody that watches this, obviously nobody at the moment, but you know what I mean, it'll be cool. I know I made videos in the past, obviously dealing with relationships, which is why I brought it up. And there's a certain directness that seems to be avoided in most of the conversations, and you know what I mean, especially like the manosphere and the woman sphere and just YouTube in general, social media in general. You know what I mean? The vibe that they get, the vibe that they give off, or the vibe that people give off. I shouldn't say they. You know, it is what it is. I mean, it's hard to call it because in one instance, of course, you see a mass number of women that are complaining that there's no good men and they're single, and you know they're feeling very stressed about that, and that is prevalent, especially at my age group, and that's being in the 30s. So when you when you do and you're in that kind of shit, I've seen plenty of videos, and I must concur with some people that I've seen to the point that you know dating at this particular point in time, man, like it's a lost cause until you probably get like 45, 50, and you just down, you know, settling for something that doesn't just feel right. You know what I mean? Because the dream is dead. The fire is gone. It's a whole thing. It's just kind of like a dim lit kind of thing. But in and of itself, it's kind of like a self-fulfilling prophecy in the way that if you claim to be an independent woman, you will more than likely be single because you want to be independent. That means free from all bounds. And if you're free from all bounds, I mean, it's hard to say that somebody would actually reel a person like yourself in, you know what I mean? Which is why terms are used like you can't handle this and not man enough for certain things, you know what I mean? Talks like that sometimes go around the different memes even as well, you know what I mean? Like this nigga couldn't handle this shit and da da da. So it it gets to a point where it's like forever straining. It's just forever like testing the limits of, you know what I mean, what is actually acceptable and what isn't acceptable. And if we're living in the age now where everything is acceptable and you're supposed to be cool with whatever anybody does, that's the shit. That's part of the shit that I don't like. You know what I mean? I like the fact that people can and feel free to express themselves, but a lot of things be openly displayed, as I'm doing right now. I'm making a video in the comfort of my own home. Obviously, I can always go outside, do something. I can harass people and talk to them. I actually start doing that. Might be a different little kind of set, but it's definitely like if you want to keep your shit and do your shit, you should do your shit. You know what I mean? And a lot of that is even, you know what I mean, directed towards just like I said, people's personal choices and lifestyle type of shit. You know what I mean? It's whatever. You really can't call it on that one because people are going to do what they do, and a lot of people do. As I say, they come together off of goddamn things that they don't like, but at the same time, they also kind of get into this deal where they subscribe to certain ideologies, and you know what I mean, they attach themselves blindly to, you know what I mean, a certain mindset, I guess. You know what I mean? Because not one person is ever one of anything or all of anything. Man, the fact that we do put things in a box and put things into a category is something that people fight, but then they take it, in my opinion, a little bit too far. You know what I mean? Like certain things are binary, you know what I mean? Like male and female, you know what I mean? Like I guess different shades of color of skin, but definitely it's a difference when it's lighter versus when it's darker. But with that being said, there's always going to be a categorization, especially off of the things that you know you can ascertain with your eyes and ears and all of your senses. Like, all right, this stinks. This looks good. This is loud. This is you know what I mean. this is nasty, however you want to dang put it. Okay, that's fine. Like those things can be judged on those merits, but when things are judged on other merits, then that's when it start digging deeper. But most people don't, and that's why the box is set for just certain things. So it gets people comfortable with the stereotypes and with the ideologies and stuff. But it's one of those things that has been covered and typically always goes through that way. I'm kind of 10 minutes in, been rambling a good little bit about for fuck. We'll keep it going for a second. Because of what shit I want to, get off chest, which is why I'm glad that there's platforms like this. And it's funny to see, how it's used. And like I said, the different things that people want to talk about. Obviously, you can learn a lot. People do share their skills. Like if you want to learn how to make this, fix that. If you want to listen to some music, Like technology has its advantages, But just like anything, people abuse everything, and this is one of those mild drugs that people don't think about, kind of like sugar. Because people have a little bit of sugar. Sugar's in everything. But if you, obviously consume too much of it, you do see some bad things that come from it. Take drugs for example. There's recreational usage of all kinds of drugs. That people get into, and obviously if it doesn't affect your job and certain things like that, you might feel like it's okay. You might be emboldened to, keep that kind of shit going. But it has its, ups and downs, especially if, you're addicted to something. And, where I'm going with this as far as even shopping, sometimes people buy things that they necessarily don't really need, but they just have to buy something. They have to spend money. They have to, do different things. And, there's so many different types of, personality types out there that you do actually really have to treat people with at least a monocle of respect and not put them in a box or put them in a category. I know I kind of went around, but let's be honest, it is just right there. It is just right there. But some people, like I said, subscribe to it. Some people don't. It is useful in and of itself. I mean, obviously, there wouldn't be stereotypes if people didn't actually live up to certain shit. And like once again, going back to just my observation of YouTube as well, and things I like and things I don't like. I like the fact that black men have come together and gathered themselves a voice and have stood together in certain sections on certain issues. All around topic, obviously. Especially when dealing with females, which is a big part of the shit. Is giving sound advice, trying to wake brothers up to the nonsense that happens when dealing with, certain types of women. But, telling people about avoiding pitfalls is something that mankind has always tried to do. And obviously, as the saying goes, a wise man learns from a fool's mistake. Excuse me. And it's true, but most people actually do have to learn the hard way, and that hard way and that lesson sometimes is way more than some people can bear, and really does, affect lives. And when you look at the grand scape of things, it really affects people of color sometimes, black people in general, and then more specific, like way worse, like a bad decision can make the difference from at least living decently in life, or, really living a horrible, shitty life. Maybe even living a great life. Let me not put a cap on it that's saying like at least, but that's the least. At least a goddamn moderate, decent life. Like you don't have to be, you know what I mean, too terrible with the shit. You know what I mean? But that's the thing about life as well too. Like you always can fall and bounce back. You know what I mean? It's just the falling that stay down and they wallow and they roll around in it, and then that's when there might be some other kind of mental stuff going on. And there's a lot of mental health stuff that don't get diagnosed. I don't think there's enough mental health workers to cover all of it because we all think we're fine. And the only reason why we think we're fine is because we conform to a certain idea of what normal is. And that's another thing that I don't like is the simple fact that normal doesn't have a wider range. And I'm not talking about like, yeah, gay shit. And no, I'm not going there with the shit. You know what I mean? Like, sexuality is a personal fucking thing. Like, nobody actually should know what the fuck you do. You know what I mean? Like, unless the motherfucker did it with you. Like you shouldn't be walking down the street and the motherfucker be like, oh, you like taking it in the ass. You know what I mean? Like you can't. That's but that's once again conforming to the idea of normal, and that's where it's like liberty should be taken as far as, like I said, people just being who they are and liking what they like and not liking what they not like and don't like. And if you don't like something, it will be hard pressed for me to understand why you would talk about it in sensationally. You know what I mean? Like obviously, if you don't like something, something reminds you of this or reminds you of that. You might speak on it. You might have something to say. You know what I mean? Oh yeah, that's a safety. My bad. Watching the game too. But if you don't understand that things can be bent a little bit, but not fully broken, and that's the problem. I mean, but that's my personal, obviously, assessment of how it goes. And I'm speaking lightly on the shit because, once again, on one hand, obviously people will do what the fuck they want to do anyway, and me not liking the shit ain't gonna really change much. I guess it makes me feel better, and when people come together, like I say, and be like, "Oh, I don't like that shit neither," that's kind of like a confirmation, and everybody likes to be validated in some sense or form. Hell, that's pretty much the reason why I'm making this video. Not that I care how many people watch it, because obviously ain't nobody could pretty much watch the shit, and I know that because I don't really make videos that much. I don't promote the shit. I don't really even be fucking with too many people like that heavy. And then when I do make a video, it's just a little peek into the window of, the mind of Charles if you hadn't already been there. You know what I mean? But other than that, it's just one of those situations where I ain't out here trying to do anything for clout. But as an observer and just putting it out there in the sphere, putting it out there in the world, like there are people that notice the bullshit that kind of goes on. And obviously people speak on it and people double down on the bullshit. But it is some things that obviously is almost like, all right, if I see somebody smoking crack, right? And I see how that's a bad example, I guess. And I see how that life kind of turns out. Because, like I keep saying, like there's always a chance that things bounce back and all that kind of shit. But like, you can't be like, oh, I really want to do that too. But most people do kind of fall into the idea that, oh, it ain't gonna happen to me type of shit when the groundwork has already been laid. As I mentioned before, a wise man learns from a fool's mistakes. So, but everybody obviously, thinks that they're a superhero. Everybody is special, and they should believe that they're special, but they shouldn't think that they are really special. Like logically, you can't really come to terms with that. You can feel it, you know what I mean? You can even believe it, but you can't really think that shit logically that, you know what I mean, you are that damn special. Like really. But that contradicts what I'm just saying, because honestly everybody is special and unique in their own way. It's just that the decisions that we make are sometimes made for us, and we have a choice between one or two things. And it gets back to that one point I keep harping on, like mental type of thing. You know what I mean? I just always want to separate this whole conversation I'm having right now from motherfuckers like transitioning from being male to female and having sexual identity issues from actually looking at society and being like, yo, the way this shit was set up, it was only one or two ways or three ways or four ways that this shit could go. And even on that, they had, checks and balances on that shit because yeah, societies have been around for a while, and going back to the wise man comment, if you're a wise man, you learned okay what worked for that last one and what didn't work, and you try to do what works, and that'll even sports teams build. You know what I mean? Obviously, you can change the game with something innovative and something new. And usually, with that, especially when dealing with world powers and just even politics in general, like what I mean. It's the one with the biggest weapon, or it's the one, with the most clout. It's the one, that got the most backing. So, hell, looking at the elections, like they're about to make some cuts. Some motherfuckers ain't gonna make it. This is almost like it's going to be a one person winner. Like, there can only be one candidate that challenges Donald Trump, at least the Democratic side of shit. I wish some of those motherfuckers had either ran as like fucking independents or fucking down. I can't even think of the name of the other shit. I've been flowing so eloquently before. Been having brain farts all day. That's why I need to quit with this bullshit. Fuck is that shit called? Man, I got computer sources. I should be able to just look, but I don't want to look it up. I want to look through the mental in my head. It's like a mental exercise. That's what I say about technology. Like sometimes we let that shit do too much work for us, where we ain't really like using the computer that we have inside our fucking heads. Like this wonderful thing called the brain. You'll be amazed what you can do with it when applied correctly and taken care of well and different things of that nature. Because kind of, and I'm gonna think about this shit, and that shit will come out like later on in this whole little discussion too. What the fuck is that shit called? The other party. It's not the Green Party, which is another party that they possibly could have ran under. But I guess just independent, man. Fuck it. Anyway, before I lose track of everything that I'm talking about. But yeah, it does get down to that point to where, you have to whittle it down to just one winner, at least in that particular aspect. No, I'm going to catch the train on the next go round. And when I say train, I mean train of thought. This is crazy though, man. It's almost like I know what time it is. I know motherfuckers don't believe what time it is. But yeah, anyway, it's football season. As you can see on the wall right there, I didn't even talk about it. 49 is gonna be pretty decent this year. Hopefully we can at least make a playoff push. If not, oh well. I'm losing sleep. I'm actually not gonna play fantasy football for the first time, but if anybody do want to hit me up, I will be able to give some fantasy football advice. I've won several fantasy football tournaments or whatever leagues. I'm about to call them tournaments. See, and now they make me sound like I know what the fuck I'm talking about, but no, I just won one, last year for a considerable amount of money. So, like, it's just real. You know what I mean? Fantasy football is a real thing. And you would be like, well, why are you even gonna do it? Because like I said about the brain, like it can be applied to so many different things. Like why just apply it to win a fucking meaningless game? Yeah, sometimes I win money, but let's be honest, I've lost some money as well too. I ain't gonna be like I'm a perfect fucking. How long fantasy been going on? Like damn near 20 years. So yeah, but right now, of course, on today's date, there's the Raiders playing the Cardinals. Damn, number one pick not looking so stellar against a real defense. I mean, them boy ain't got no points. And that's the one thing about it. And I've talked about it if you saw my last video, which I think I kind of cut short. I know. But the reason why I like sports is because it's definitely a showcase and there's rules and that's how it should be. And that's one of the more fairest things that we can witness in this world is sports. Yeah, there's flaws. Yeah, obviously people buy stuff off. Yeah, on the top levels of shit, I believe that is rigged to a certain degree. Because if not, Tom Brady probably would not have won. Obviously, all them Super Bowls, man. Like I can't understand why the Patriots always win. You know, like not always, but at least they be damn near there. And it's not the fact that they're a good team, because the 49ers was a good team, but the ship had at least a feel of a little bit more parity, I guess. But anyway, because I guess if it was rigged, Tom Brady will have like 12 rings right now. So it is what it is. You know what I mean? You have to kind of believe a little bit of bullshit, just like uh, just like with watching movies and television shows. Like I mean, especially sci-fi shit. You know what I mean? Like you have to just like let your mind go and just take your head there. You know what I mean? It's an escape. It's a distraction, just like this is. You know what I mean? And obviously, you know what I mean. We got too many distractions, which is why we can't get shit actually done. And then when people use this platform to try to get some shit done, from what I noticed, it doesn't seem to garner as much support as the silly shit. You know what I mean? You would think that there would be like 2 and 3 million views, and that's just pretty much saying like if damn near every black person, you know what I mean, watch the shit on debates and topic of views, you know what I mean, because people have found it to be cool now that you know what I mean people are trying to be conscious. And really, what that is just the culture that I even grew up in. Man, we watched our fucking celebrities, grow up as well. And some of these people are trying to be more active and trying to be a little bit more political because they got kids and motherfuckers out here got kids. You know what I mean? Like you got to grow the fuck up a little bit. So some other things will take a little bit more serious tone, but it almost seems like the more responsibility that a person gets, the more distraction that they seek. And when I say that shit, I really, am taking a jab at technology, which is another thing that I like, but I don't like. I like it because of what I mentioned way before. I've been listening to that shit all throughout. Like this conversation has many dimensions, you know what I mean? But a lot of things that I've mentioned earlier in this topic, if you listening, you can rewind back and be like, oh, yeah, he did mention that, even through all the bullshit. Ooh, touchdown, isn't it? Arizona finally scored. And I don't think it was Murray that tossed the rock. Nope, it was not. It was the other black guy. I think that's that black dude that dang I played in Green Bay for that second, a little minute, isn't it? Who that boy be? Who that boy be? You know, they playing a lot of backup niggas. Yeah, that is his ass. Hunley. Fucking Hunley. Yeah. And see, that's the crazy part. Like, I can just, like, yeah. That's why I can't be putting my energy and efforts all into sports. Even though I do want to talk about sports a little bit more on my channel when I do actually make a video. And this was mildly going to be a little bit about sports because I can talk about that. I really just want to talk about a lot of random issues, mainly how technology has also affected, you know what I mean, this life that we fucking live right now. You know what I mean? And I preface it all of that by even mentioning what society deems as normal. Now, what society deems as normal has often come close to Judeo-Christian values and moral system as far as the Ten Commandments, you know what I mean? That's how some of our laws are set up. Obviously, thou shalt not steal and kill. You know, like those things are almost like, okay, everybody can seemingly get down with that. But, you know what I mean? Committing adultery technically is a civil crime because, you know, women can get paid from it. Men seemingly have a hard time, you know, even if the wife is cheating on him, somehow she can claim something and he will find his way on the raw end of that deal. But and most men don't even go after it like that anyway. Like if they catch their wife cheating, it's just like, all right, fuck it, I'm out, you know. But then there's some other little dudes called, you know, say that loosely, that, you know, will try to stick it out, rough it out, I guess. But you know, to each their own. To each their own. This ain't a relationship advice, you know, fucking rant. I hate using that word because I used to do fucking rants. Fucking real ass nigga talk. Those were the days. But, you know, now I'm just a grown man with issues trying to talk it out. And not like personal issues, but when you say that, you think like, but honestly, what society puts on you can cause issues as well too. I mean, it's really some outside influence if you let it. That typically always stress you out. If it's that eternal shit, yes, you really do have issues. You know what I mean? But most people, their only issues are manufactured. You know what I mean? It's certain inconveniences, to say the least. You know what I mean? But the culture that we live in, the society we live in, like even minor inconveniences are fucking treated as if it's a major catastrophe. And I hate the hyperbole that has taken over, you know what I mean, the lexicon of America. Like I get the simple fact that, you know what I mean, they made a million different ways to say certain words, you know what I mean, and the more words that you know to describe the same shit kind of signifies your intelligence, I guess, you know what I mean? But we have used words out of place in a lot of contexts, you know what I mean? Like, you can't call everything, you know what I mean, wonderful when it's actually not, you know what I mean? Because then, like, you have to step it up the next time. You feel me? Or if you call everything awesome, you know what I mean? Like, it loses its value. You feel what I'm saying? Like, even though you hate putting things into a box and that's how society is kind of going, and like I said, I can understand certain aspects of that. There is a reason why there is a box and things get put into that place, you know? It just doesn't seem adequate, seem right. But anyway, I think I covered a few little topics for the night. Might then jump on a little bit later to finish some bullshit out. But appreciate everybody that listens.